And I think the first team that we should start with is the one that, we talk about Alex not finding Jacob's story, not believable, but being shocked that it was real. I think a lot of people are shocked that the Cleveland Cavaliers are on a 70-win pace, so I think that we should start there. You guys are Alex and Jacob, you guys are very much in the camp that we should take the Cavs thing seriously. The circles that I hang out in, people, I don't think it's about them not taking it seriously. I think they don't care. So if you guys want to talk a little bit about I don't know if it's a lack of coverage or a lack of confidence in the Cavs, maybe do a little sales pitch for people to get them excited. Because apparently a 70-win pace is not enough to get people excited.
I think it's the superstar thing. I think people get hung up on that every time. It's like, do I know confidently that you have a top 5-ish player in the NBA? And if you don't, the conversation tends to stop there for a lot of people. But the reason I'm taking the Cavs especially seriously is because I feel as though the league where that is the first box that must be checked isn't the league that we're in anymore, really. With the lower tier role players, the bench guys, the fifth man mattering and being better now more than ever before, I think the way that the Cavs played, that is just like they have some of the best depth in the league. They have some of the best, cohesiveness with their personnel. And I think that can circumvent the fact that, maybe if, depending on how you feel about Donovan Mitchell, he's like the 10th best player in the NBA. I think that will be enough, especially with Mitchell's proclivity to step up in the postseason and just suddenly be like a 30-point per game scorer. I think it's enough in the context of the modern NBA that they should be taken very seriously. So yeah, that's, to me, the main thing that I think people will get hung up with. They were comparing them to the 2015 Atlanta Hawks. That was the same thing people said about them. It's like, yeah, this team's really good in the regular season, but you're not winning a championship with Al Horford or Paul Millsap as your best player. I think the league where that is possible is a lot. I think we're a lot closer to that now than we were then.
Well, I think a lot of it with the Hawks specifically was that they had to get through LeBron. And so the roster and shit aside, but it was like, you're not going to beat LeBron at the end of the day. So in the Cavs case, that LeBron boogeyman isn't there. Right. There's nothing.
That was the standard close of the conference for a decade, was like, are you better
right.
than LeBron's team? No. Okay, shut the fuck up then.
Right.
I also don't think repeating a title is nearly as likely, and obviously the repeat team would be the Celtics, and I don't think they're as unbeatable as people are projecting, especially given how we've basically every year now been like, okay, the next team to win a championship is going to be the team that won last year, and then it wasn't. 2019 going to now.
Alex, what do you got on the Cavs?
I just feel like I'm a big proponent of don't give up on your guys. Continue to build around known variables. Yeah, I understand Darius Garland had injuries, and that took a while for him to recover from and bounce back from. You had to adjust him and Donovan Mitchell playing together. Evan Mobley had to develop. Jarrett Allen had to, have the lights were brighter than I expected moment. And all of these, Isaac Okoro had to learn how to shoot threes. They had to get a coach who knew how to use everybody the right way and empower his players and get the most out of them. All of these things come together. And this is what happens when you stick to your guns. You don't give up on your players. I understand they gave up on JB Bickerstaff. I think there was a lot of evidence that I think he might have lost the locker room, this, that, a bunch of other stuff. And Kenny Atkinson, it's not like they got the best coach they could have gotten. Kenny Atkinson has been the guy that every team wants for the past X amount of years, ever since he stopped coaching in Brooklyn. It's been every team wants Kenny Atkinson, but he's just an assistant coach for the Warriors until he gets the right job, and this was the right job. I just think, not to say if it doesn't happen for them this year, it's not going to happen at all, but this is the year that it does happen for teams like this, where you've built the right way for so long, you've built through the draft, you haven't given up on your guys, you've done like a proper rebuild, you didn't try to take ton of shortcuts. You can maybe view Donovan Mitchell as like taking a shortcut, but I don't think so. I think that's just like you got the guy you wanted. And all that is to say, like, I understand the regular season doesn't matter, blah blah blah. Everyone's gonna say I don't believe in them till I see them do it in the postseason. I get that, but like, man, we really got to get out of the headspace of like, well, unless they do it in the postseason, then who cares? Like, that is what we're like watching this for. This is why we watch the regular season, is to see the teams take that next step, to like the Cavs going from being a 50-win team to, oh, they might be a 70-win team. Like, they're on pace for 70 wins. This is why we watch the regular season, is for developments like this and storylines like this. And if your gut reaction to this is to say, well, I need to see them do it in the playoffs, then what I have to say to that is, why are you even watching basketball? Why are you even like keeping up with the sport? If you're not going to watch 90% of the games that happen, if you're not going to put any stock in 90% of the games that happen in any given year, then like, why are you even watching? Like, the Cavs are not only a great story, everyone's like, there's not any good stories in the NBA. To that, I point to the Cavs. I'm like, they're a great story. Everyone talks about building the right way. They did that. And now we're going to sit here and say, well, it doesn't matter till they do it in the postseason. I'm just sick of it.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick. The only reason that I give merit to the people who are like, let me see it in the postseason, is because otherwise, if I can use an NFL analogy, you watch your team be the best that they have literally ever been, ever, in anyone's life. And if you're a Cavs fan, to be better than any year that you were, at least in the wins and losses column, than you were with LeBron, to watch an 82-game season unfold, or in the NFL's case, an 18-week season unfold, if the Cavs hypothetically get the 1 seed and then lose in the first round, it doesn't mean a thing if you don't win the ring. You know what I mean? So in the way that you're talking about it, I do think that people are being lazy, but I do think that I don't think it's crazy to want to see a team perform in the playoffs. But I think what you're saying is that it's crazy to be dismissive of it while it's happening until it either does or it doesn't. So I hope that makes sense.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I agree that, like, yes, it ultimately, like, 70 wins doesn't matter if you get swept in the first round. Mm-hmm. But my point is just that we are watching them do stuff that provides evidence that they will be able to do it in the postseason. Right. Is more so what I'm saying.
Yeah, in that hypothetical NFL analogy, I would have thought the same thing, and then it didn't end up happening that way. But Jacob, what do you got?
There are two main things that I love about the Cleveland Cavaliers. The first is I really love when a team has virtually the same personnel and they're just way better. Obviously, I think the main thing I would attribute that to this year is Darius Garland's health, plus primarily Kenny Atkinson being the coach of the year. As someone who has been, since Kenny Atkinson's Nets tenure, been like, if there's a guy I'm recommending for a head coaching job, it is Kenny Atkinson. So that part of it I really like, but the thing that is most enjoyable about the way the Cavs play, that also I think will translate to their success, is the efficiency with their playmaking. As of right now, they are 5th in the league in assists and 28th in turnovers. I think a lot of that comes from their big men. To me, the passing between Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen has been the most enjoyable aspect of that offense, because like they don't take time. You know, typically a more traditional, slower big, you give them the ball, they sit there and look like a deer in headlights, like not really sure what the next swing pass is. They're like, they got to be really confident that the pass is open before they throw it. But Allen and Mobley both have their head on a swivel. They know where everybody is on the floor, and they make super, super fast decisions. And having that come from your big men, on top of the fact that you're obviously getting that out of your guards, it just means that like you're gonna generate a great shot all the time. And it's mitigated a lot of the negatives of going double bigs in your starting lineup, even though Mobley's shooting 40% from three, it's on really low volume and teams aren't defending him like he's a legit spacer. However, everybody else is such a great three-point shooter, and they are so good at finding those open shooters that they ultimately end up being one of the best shooting teams in the league, even with two non-floor spacers on the floor. So yeah, the playmaking is the number one thing to me. When I watched the first game against OKC, Mobley and Allen were just ripping them apart by making the basic read, but not even flinching, not even taking a split second to make that read, because OKC is historically the best defense ever, at least in terms of the numbers. And if you take a second to hesitate, then the play is broken up. It's not going to work anymore. But they don't do that. They are locked in. They know what they're doing. And, and maybe the lights will get too bright for Jared Allen again, and that'll all fall apart in the postseason. But I don't feel like it's going to. I feel like almost all the things that they are good at are things that do not disappear in a playoff setting. They're not reliant upon things that just go away the moment the intensity is turned up.
You talk about Kenny Atkinson, and Alex, you brought this up too. So this is my question. What is Kenny Atkinson doing differently this season that JB Bickerstaff was not doing a season ago?
I would say there's definitely a big shift in usage with Donovan Mitchell. Like, Donovan Mitchell is almost I'm not saying he is being used as a play finisher, but he is being used more as a play finisher. Like, having him on the wing while Darius Garland and Jared Allen run a pick and roll. Garland draws that nail help, swings it to Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell can either shoot it or attack the closeout, and from there you just develop and keep developing the advantage. So I think a big part of it is just like, we're not going to run everything through Donovan Mitchell. We're going to empower Garland to be Garland a little bit more, and obviously him being healthy helps a lot with that. I also think Mobley, you can talk about getting increased usage. Not just like numbers wise, but in the types of plays that they're running for him and making him a more emphasized point of the offense, where like I'm seeing him post up a lot more than he did last year. Yeah. And part of this is development.
He's being used as a creator more than ever before.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of just like, hey, Mobley, go attack this mismatch. Like, if you put a wing on Mobley a year ago, you could get away with it. You cannot get away with putting like a 6'7" kind of strong wing on Evan Mobley. He's just going to bully you and then use his length to finish over the top. We got something?
I didn't realize how good Mobley's three ball was. I get that it's on just south of 3 attempts a game, but that's bizarre. Hey, Rudy, will you do me a favor? Will you go back to Donovan Mitchell's player page, or maybe one of you will remember this off the top of your head. It's where it says Rookie of the Year second. I want to see who he lost to in 2018. I don't remember who that would have been.
That's very
really.
That was the Ben Simmons year.
There's an infamous Rookie of the Year race.
I didn't realize that was the Ben Simmons year. Wow,
I
that's
was
crazy.
about that
I
earlier.
totally forgot about that.
He wore the shirt that said like the definition of a rookie on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ben Simmons isn't a real rookie.
Yeah.
If there's any Dennis Smith Jr., shout out to him. Go ahead, Jacob.
If there's an addition to highlight, I mean, technically it's not an addition because he got injured at the very start of the year last year, so he was on the roster. But Ty Jerome is another one of my like favorite stories and favorite aspects of this Cavaliers team. He's been so good in his spot minutes, which obviously he can't be given a ton of minutes playing guard on a team with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. But he's just insanely proficient in the minutes he gets. He's averaging just under 18 minutes a game, averaging 10 points, 3.5 assists, 42% from three. He's damn near at 50-40-90 overall. Like if you translate that to per 36, he's 21-7 a night. Like having this guy and you can play him 18 minutes a game and that's appropriate. Oh my God, that's so useful.
I would almost argue that, you said how good he is in spot minutes. I honestly think he's like one of the sixth man of the year contenders. Like, I'm not
Right,
saying
he's
he's
just
like
not-
1 or 2,
yeah.
but he's probably in that realm somewhere.
I wish he could be on a team. Obviously, I like him on this Cavs team, but I wish he could play a little bit more than that. I understand entirely why he's not, but there's a part of me who looks at how he's played this year, and I'm like, dude, if you put that guy on a middling team, he can average 20 points per game. I think he has that in him. His jump shot is pure, and he's got one of the best float games I've seen ever, honestly. I'm not looking at numbers, just purely my eye test. Dude's floater is unstoppable.